Hey Skull Nation, what's up? Can you believe we're staring down the barrel of another gut-wrenching Vikings season that's got us all clutching our purple hearts? I'm your die-hard Vikings fan, fired up and ready to dive into the latest from Vikings news. Because if there's one thing we know, it's that our boys in purple never make it easy on us. Today, we're unpacking the absolute disaster that's unfolding at 4-7, with 3 straight losses, including brutal divisional beatdowns, and the million-dollar question. What the hell do we do with McCarthy? Stick around, because this roller coaster is about to get real. And trust me, by the end, you'll be yelling at your screen just like me. Who's with me? Drop a skull in the comments if you're as frustrated as I am. Picture this. We kicked off the year with sky-high hopes after drafting McCarthy 10th overall, envisioning him as the savior to lead us back to glory. But 6 games in, it's like watching a promising rookie quarterback trip over his own shoelaces. Remember that electric fourth quarter in Week 1 against the Bears? He slung 2 touchdown passes and scampered for another, earning NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors and making us all believe the McCarthy era was here to stay. Fast forward, and outside of that miracle bomb to Jalen Nailor that sealed a gritty win over the Lions, it's been crickets. We're talking inconsistencies that'd make a weather forecast look stable. Folks, what happened to that Michigan magic? And here's the teaser that's keeping me up at night. Sunday's meltdown against the Packers wasn't just bad. It was historically ugly. McCarthy's EPA per dropback is scraping the bottom of the league barrel, nearly the worst in 25 years. If we don't turn this ship around, heads are gonna roll, starting with the hot seat under Kevin O'Connell. But hey, as fans, we've been through worse, or have we? Hit that like button if you're ready for the deep dive, because next up, we're breaking down that Packers nightmare yard by yard. The air was thick with that Lambeau chill on Sunday, the kind that seeps into your bones and matches the ice-cold reality hitting our Vikings squad. There we were, clinging to a sliver of hope after a decent run game early on, only for McCarthy to drop a pick-six that felt like a dagger straight to the heart. 12 completions out of 19 for a measly 87 yards, 2 picks, 1 sailing high and ugly into the hands of their safety like a misguided Hail Mary. It's the kind of game that makes you question everything, Skull Nation. How do we go from playoff contenders to this? Let's paint the picture. Third quarter, we're grinding with a 58% run rate in the first half, averaging 4.7 yards per carry. Aaron Jones, looking like the beast we signed him to be. But then, boom, botched punt turns into free points for Green Bay, and McCarthy's mechanics go haywire, over-rotating on throws that float like they're caught in a purple people-eater breeze. The defense is out there battling, forcing stops, but we're handing games away. O'Connell's preaching team effort, saying we can't afford turnovers or breakdowns. But come on, coach. When your QB's EPA is 3rd worst in the league against quick pressures, it's hard to buy the "we got this" vibe. I gotta ask you, fellow Vikings faithful, is this the rock bottom we've all feared? Or just a bump before the breakout? That frustration bubbling up? It's real, and it's shared. If you've got a hot take on whether McCarthy deserves another shot after this clunker, sound off below. We're in this together, building suspense for what's next because, man, the NFC North ain't forgiving. Diving deeper into the stats that sting, because as much as it hurts, knowledge is our armor in Vikings Nation. McCarthy's drop-back efficiency? Dead last in the league, folks. We're talking metrics that scream rookie blues on steroids. In 5 full games plus this partial disaster, he's got a completion rate hovering around 54%, 929 yards, 6 scores, but 10 picks that haunt my dreams. Compare that to the vets. Carson Wentz last year had a drop rate on his throws at just 3.5% over way more attempts. Ours? A league-high 14.7% drop rate from receivers. But let's be real. When the ball's sailing like a bad golf slice, it's on the thrower. Zoom in on that Packers pick. McCarthy climbs the pocket, eyes downfield on Nailor, but the ball hangs up there like it's got stage fright. Easy pickings for Evan Williams. It's not just one play, it's the pattern. Highest pressured QB in the NFL at 31.3% of snaps, holding the ball too long, racking up hurries because decisions drag. League average completion under pressure? 75.2%. Our guys dipping way below. Yet, O'Connell's out here post-game, confident as ever. I think you can win with this version of him. Coach, with all due respect, show me the tape from practice where this turns golden, because Sundays are telling a different story. What do you think, Skull Squad? Are the numbers lying? Or is this the wake-up call we needed? Share your stat breakdowns in the comments. I read everyone, hanging on every incomplete pass. But that's the thrill, right? Next, we're shifting to the silver linings, or lack thereof, and why this conundrum feels like déjà vu for our franchise. You know that feeling when your star rookie flashes brilliance one week and bricks the next? That's McCarthy in a nutshell, and it's got me pacing like a caged lion in Vikings purple. Sure, there was that week 1 heroics, 2 TDs through the air, 1 on the ground, erasing an 11-point deficit at Soldier Field for a 27-24 thriller. Or the frozen rope to Naylor against Detroit, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. But outside those, the slim pickings, my friends. The inconsistencies aren't just on-field flubs. They're etched in the stat sheets, turning potential into pain. And don't get me started on the surroundings. This kid's got the best setup any first-year QB could dream of. Elite weapons like Justin Jefferson, a revamped O-line, a coach who's wizard turnarounds with Cousins, Dobbs, Mullins, even Darnold. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and O'Connell didn't punt on the season. They swung for fences with off-season moves to win now while building. Turns out, the now parts hitting speed bumps the size of Lake Superior. McCarthy's passer rating? A dismal 61.7. Dead last among starters. Brutal, but is it all on him? Or are we seeing the growing pains we signed up for? Tell me, diehards, if you were in the locker room, would you give him grace or demand change? Your thoughts fuel this fire. Comment away. The suspense builds because every snap feels like it could flip the script, and we're not done dissecting yet. Flipping the script to the blame game, because nothing rallies Vikings fans like a good old-fashioned finger point. O'Connell's dropping truth bombs post-Packers. It requires not doing things that lose games. Special teams turnovers in 2 of our last 3. Defense battling to get the ball back. But we can't have breakdowns around that player. Fair point, coach. That botched punt early third quarter was a gift-wrapped loss. But when your offense is sputtering at 87 yards passing, it's tough to pin it all on teammates. The run game's humming at 4.7 YPC when we lean in, yet McCarthy's still forcing throws that ghosts would dodge. Then there's the receiver drops, Pro Football Focus clocks a 14.7% rate, tops in the NFL. Is it Butterfingers from Jay Jettas and the crew, or uncatchable spirals? Look at Wentz's 3.5% last year on 166 more attempts. Screams mechanics over mishaps. McCarthy's holding too long, facing pressure on nearly a third of snaps, turning potential dimes into disasters. It's a team sport, sure, but when your QB's the common denominator in the chaos, whispers of the locker room fracturing start to echo louder than a U.S. bank roar. Who's buying the "it's everyone" narrative and who's calling BS? Hit the comments with your take. I want the debate raging. This tension's what keeps us hooked. Next up, the voices from the vets that cut deepest. Echoes from the locker room hit different when it's your stars sounding the alarm, and Sunday's post-game vibes were pure purple frustration. Justin Jefferson, our lightning rod, didn't mince words. It's frustrating to be up here and say the same things every single week. You say the same, expecting change, and we're still in the same spot. Oof, that's the voice of a guy who's caught fire from less and now feels the drought. JJ's not wrong. We're 3 games deep in the L column, 2 against NFC North foes, and the fire's flickering low. Skull Nation, you feeling that same burn? Right tackle Brian O'Neill chimes in with the practice versus Sunday gospel. It's more about understanding how important each play is. We can run it 100 times, but how does it apply this week? What's my exact job against their D, and how do I nail it for success? Spot-on reps are great, but execution under the lights? That's where McCarthy's faltering, turning scripted perfection into scrambled panic. The offense tried leaning run-heavy, 58% in the half, and it clicked, but one bad quarter from the QB erases it all. Is the locker room tuning out, or rallying harder? What would you tell JJ and Brian if you could? Drop your locker room pep talks below. Let's build each other up. The drama's thickening, because losing the vets' trust could unravel everything. Stay tuned for the bench or bust dilemma. Now, the unthinkable that's got Vikings Twitter exploding. Bench McCarthy just 6 games in? It's like asking if we'd trade Skull Chance for silence heresy. But the evidence is mounting. Backups UDFA rookie Max Brosmer, a Minnesota kid the staff's buzzing about in practices, but yanking the starter sends shockwaves. On one hand, it screams we believe in development. On the other, it risks the locker room revolt we saw hints of in that checked-out second half against Green Bay. O'Connell's walking a tightrope here. Folks, one misstep, and the purple falls. Remember the off-season blueprint? Growth for McCarthy while pushing for wins, roster tweaks galore under Kwesi and KO. But with the D holding firm and run game potential popping, sticking with a QB whose EPA's in the cellar feels like punting on the season. Brosmer's untested, but fresh legs could spark. Yet, benching the future guy this early? It's Josh Rosen vibes, admitting the draft dreams busted. The conundrum's real. Change now and maybe salvage pride, or ride it out and pray for that week 1 magic redux. Paragraph 3. Bench or back him? Your vote counts, poll in the comments, Skull Nation. This fork in the road's got my stomach in knots. What's coming next could redefine our 2025 fate. Flashback to September 2024, when O'Connell dropped wisdom on the Rich Eisen show that now feels like prophecy or warning. Fresh off McCarthy's meniscus tweak, KO said, "Organizations fail young quarterbacks before young QBs fail organizations. No shade, just a 30,000-foot truth. These kids need support, systems, teammates to unlock potential. We're drafting raw talent, betting on the bloom." Sound familiar? That's the Vikings gospel under this regime, and it's why we're all in on JJ from day one. Fast forward to now, and the irony's thicker than Minnesota fog. We've built the fortress, stable org, top-tier weapons, a coach who's resurrected QBs like it's his superpower. Cousins peaked, Dobbs dazzled, Mullins mended, Darnold dared. Systems are humming, support stacked, yet McCarthy's sputtering. Is this the org's failure to adapt mid-journey, or proof that potential doesn't always ignite? O'Connell's echoing his own words, believing we can win with this version, but how long before the journey label wears thin? Does KO's philosophy hold, or is it time to pivot? Share if you've got a similar what-if story from past seasons. The layers peel back further, building to the big choices ahead. The million-dollar pivot. If O'Connell pulls the trigger on a change, does he get the reins to pick the next arm? It's rare air for coaches. Most get saddled with the front office's scraps. But this setup's unique. KO's QB whisperer cred is gold. He coaxed the best from Kirk, flipped flops into flashes, turned Darnold into a stopgap stud. If anyone's surviving a rookie QB implosion, it's him. But whatever call he makes, stick or switch, it's got to click not just for wins, but for his own chair stability. Stakes don't get higher, Skull fam. Imagine the ripple. Bench McCarthy, slide in Brosmer or call up Wolford from practice squad, and suddenly the narrative shifts from development to desperation. Or double down, grind through the inconsistencies, and bet on practice magic translating. Either way, it's a referendum on the whole Operation Kwesi's drafts, KO's schemes, our endless faith. With the NFC North biting at our heels, clarity's coming fast, and it'll expose everything. Win now or build forever. That's the KO conundrum in full color. If you were calling shots, what's the move? Aggressive or patient? Your strategies in the comments. Let's scheme like it's training camp. The future's foggy, but we're peering through together. Silver linings? They're scarcer than a Vikings Super Bowl ring right now, but let's hunt for him amid the wreckage. McCarthy's got that week 1 fire in his veins. The poise under pressure, the dual threat spark that won us over at Michigan. And O'Connell's unwavering belief? That's fuel. He sees the practice reps where throws zip and reads click. Plus, the run game's a beast when committed. 4.7 YPC proves we can grind defenses down. If we clean the turnovers and drops, this offense could roar back. Hope's not dead. It's just buried under LS. Dig deeper. The D's disruptive with guys like Eric Wilson and Jalen Redmond, forcing field position we squander. Special teams glitches aside, they're the backbone holding us afloat at 4 wins. McCarthy's youth, just 22, means reps now are investments later. We've got the surroundings. Jefferson's elite, Naylor's emerging, Jones pounding. It's not all doom. It's a puzzle with pieces we know fit. O'Connell's right, no more self-inflicted wounds, and we flip the script. What's your glimmer of hope in this mess? One positive per comment, let's crowdsource the comeback. Optimism's our weapon. Next, we're staring down the uncertain horizon. The horizon's hazy as a metrodome fog, but one thing's crystal. The Vikings' 2025 fate hangs by a purple thread. 4-7, out of playoff contention whispers already swirling. Yet 6 games left to salvage pride or plot the rebuild. O'Connell's likely riding with McCarthy. I believe it'll spark league-wide debates, critiques from every hot-take corner. But clarity's inbound, sooner than the next divisional dust-up, and it'll reveal our org's soul. Resilient or rigid? We've got the tools, now execution's the exam. Broader lens. After a 14-3 dream in 24, this skid's a gut check. NFC North losses sting deepest, Bears, Lions, Packers owning us lately. But remember, we've clawed from worse. That 2014 4-7 start flipped to playoffs. McCarthy's journey mirrors ours. Bumps, brilliance, breakthrough potential. Whatever KO chooses, it's for the fan base, the future, his legacy. Stability's our strength. Let's lean in. How do you see this ending, miracle run or lessons learned? Paint your prediction below. The story's unfolding, and we're all authors in this Vikings saga. Wrapping this whirlwind, Skull Nation. Because if there's one constant in purple, it's our unbreakable bond through the storms. We've dissected the disaster, the drama, the dreams, from McCarthy's meteoric highs to his current craters, O'Connell's tightrope, and the locker room's raw roar. It's messy, it's maddening, but damn if it doesn't make us love these Vikings more. We've got fight left. Channel that frustration into fire for the back half. Quick shout out to the stats that gut punch. 10 picks to 6 TDs, dead last efficiency, but flashes like that Bears comeback remind us why we believed. O'Connell's vision, organization's lifting QBs, not dropping him, it's our North Star. And you, the fans? Your takes and comments have me hyped. Keep 'em coming. This isn't goodbye to hope. It's halftime in the grind. Alright, diehards, let's turn talk into action. Smash that like if this breakdown fired you up. Drop your hottest McCarthy opinion below. Subscribe for every Vikings news update so you never miss the pulse. And share this with your fellow Skull believers. Spread the purple pain and pride. Who's ready to chant through the chaos? Skull Vikings, we rise together.